Hello and welcome back. I'm Gary C and it feels like a lifetime since I was last here. I've been to Disney World, I've recovered from Disney World, I've spent a lot of money in Disney World and today I'll be talking about Disney World. Wow, didn't see that coming. We are talking about surviving Disney World because I am someone who has depression, anxiety disorder, I suffer from panic, and physically, some of you may not know this, you may have seen the bandages in videos and stuff, but I am somebody that has physical difficulties with my legs. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It's hilarious. Before the little intro rolls, I just want to remind you to give this video a thumbs up and hit the notification bell so you'll be made aware of all my new videos. I feel really dirty and cheap for doing that, but hey, that's the algorithm for you. Thanks, YouTube. Gary C. Surviving Disney World, an anxiety-ridden fool's guide. Whatever I call this, here's tip number 1. To plan or not to plan? That really is the question. And I would say, if you suffer from anxiety, like I do, plan. Unless you get too worked up and stressed about the plans themselves. I like to know where I'm going and what I'm doing, and my friend Adam, who I often go with, he is a planner. He's a scheduler. He likes to know where he's going anyway, so it works out perfect for us. But if not, if there's someone in your party that loves to plan, delegate, let them do it, and try not to overstress. By planning, I mean sorting out your fast passes and your dining reservations. Having your dining reservations and everything in place will make it so much easier on the day because you won't be just walking from place to place looking for a place to sit or looking for somewhere where you can get a reservation. You'll have it all sorted out, you'll know where you're going, and you can plan your park days around it. So it just means less walking, less jumping from place to place or rushing around. Now, here we go. Here's something that I've been trying to remember. If you are staying in a Disney resort, one of the many beautiful Disney resorts, you get to book your fast passes for rides 60 days before you get there. And you get to book your Disney World dining reservations 180 days, so you can do it all. If you're not staying in a Disney resort, you have 30 days before you get there to book your fast passes. And you get 180 days for your restaurants, but you're going to have to do each one, like each day. So do one, then the next day log on and do another one and do another one. I know it's a bit of hassle, but that's the benefit of staying with Disney World. By staying in a Disney resort, you can do it all in one hit. Balance is key here. Don't make it so that you're rushing around from one side to the other of a park, because they are huge. If you've never been to Disney World, a friend of mine recently said to me, I had no idea how big it was. 4 parks, 2 water parks, you've got Disney Springs, the entire shopping complex, and then, you know, you've got your Universals and other stuff on top of that. So just balance. If you're someone that needs to take a break, don't have yourself being at one restaurant in one place and then a fast pass for another place. Just, you can see park maps on the websites, and if you've done it before, you know the sort of rough layout. Don't schedule yourself. It seems like common sense, but you'll be so surprised how often people do it, and they want to do everything, and there's that pressure to do everything, and you can't do everything. It's so big unless you're there for a few weeks, like some British families do. But balance. Number 2, time. Get up. Get up, get out, get moving, get shaking, avoid that heat. You'd be surprised the amount of adults that don't have children that just do lazy days. And yes, you're on holiday, but if you're someone that also wants to do a lot of Disney World, you need to get up, get out, get into the resort, get something to eat, or go straight into the park like Adam and I do, and have a little light something in the morning. That's usually quite a good way to go, because then you've got like something to get you going, but you can also like get moving. The parks are quieter in the mornings. We recently did Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and we were there at 6:30 for magic hours. Magic hours, extra magic hours, whatever you want to call it, are a perk of staying in a Disney resort. It means that you can go into the parks before they are open. Blissful, wonderful. And it means in the evenings you can sometimes do extra magic hours where, you know, other guests are going or being filtered out because they've got kids and, you know, they're just tired or worn down from the day. And you can go in later in the day because the park's open that bit later for everyone. So not just Disney park guests the evenings, but you can then sort of make it so that you go in a bit later when the sun's going down and you do the evening-y, afternoon-y, late night. Because sometimes they go up to like 1s in the morning. And by that token, like, by that token, you can then avoid the sort of really intense heat, which obviously can make a big difference to people. The other thing with time is give yourself time to do things. This goes back to number 1. You will not get everything done. Do not try to get everything done. Hello, I do this. I rush around. I remember going to Disneyland Paris with my friends the other year, and I was on my own because they all weren't up, and I'm so used to being up and like buzzing for the Disney parks. And I did all of Fantasyland in like an hour or something because it was so quiet. And yes, that's great. But then by the time they joined me in the park, I was pretty exhausted because I just had all these experiences and this sensory overload. And Disney is this incredible sensory overload. That's where a lot of the tiredness comes from. It's not just the walk-in and the heat. It's just so much going on around you. And then if you add in the crowd. So if you are someone that is on sort of a kind of spectrum of anxiety or some sort of disorder similar to it, it's best to do the quieter moments. Go for something to eat midday, maybe. Do some of the indoor rides when the heat is at its worst and the crowds are at their worst. Because obviously people with children, once it gets to about 78, sometimes they don't stay for the fireworks. They take them back to the resort because they're tired. That is your time to strike, my friends. If you are someone that has children, it's just about pacing. It is all about pacing, working out when the kids can hack it. But you know that, you're parents, I'm not. Like, you know the tea when it comes to that. Oh, I just spat, that is rank. Number 3, your bag. Very, very important. And I'm going to consult my list now because I don't want to miss anything off. Water. You must stay hydrated. A fan that my friend Brogan taught me about. The 1-2 Beyonce setting. 1-2 Beyonce! And it really helps in the humidity. It really helps in the heat. Even if it's just to put it up your top and just be like... Sun cream. A little sun cream to just top up if you need it, if you're very fair-skinned and you need a top up during the day. A snack. If you're somebody that is, you know, has issues with your blood sugar levels and everything, definitely have a snack on you because that it can be a source of anxiety. Just the feeling hungry before your reservation. You can always buy a snack when you're in there, but that can work out quite expensive. So have a little something on you just to sort of tide you if you're in a ride queue or something and you're just like, I'm really hungry. And then that's another thing to think about. It's another thing to worry about and stress around. So just iron that out. Earplugs, sometimes it can be very, very loud. Like the shows can be loud, or the kids screaming and shouting at the shows because they're really enjoying it. You can get cheap earplugs. You can even get like fancy ones that filter out certain levels or take the volume down like 20 decibels, which is perfect. Battery pack. Now, you might be someone that uses their phone all day, they're checking stuff, or you might be someone that puts it in the bag and forgets about it. Get a battery pack, a cheap one from Amazon or something like that, some electrical shop. I don't know. I'm not out here doing surveys on the streets about battery packs, but what I will tell you is this. It is so important to have a comfortable bag. A nice bag and some comfortable shoes. Do not take the risk of wearing new shoes. And that leads me on to point number 4. You. Shoes. Pack-a-mac rain thing, because when it rains in Florida, it rains. It doesn't rain that often, but when it does, it really does. Comfortable shoes. Make sure you are comfortable. Whether it's the straps on your bag from tip number 3, or whether it is the shoes you're wearing. I'm someone with a high arch and I've always worn like flat shoes. This year I was wearing Skechers. They had like a cushioning in them. It was like wearing slippers around the park. It made such a difference to the pressures on my body, on my legs. Yes, of course my legs gave up a few days in and I was in pain, but I don't even want to know what it would have been like without those Skechers shoes. T-shirts. I made my own T-shirts this holiday because I wanted really thin material. So I bought a load of cheap white I think they're Fruit of the Loom. You know, the ones you can get like mass produced off websites. You can get loads for cheap. I think I bought like 10 for £20. And they're so thin. One day when we walked out of the result, we were walking along and I said to Adam, I just feel so claustrophobic because I was wearing a normal t-shirt that day. I went straight back into the room and put one of my new white t-shirts that I designed on. And I felt like totally lighter and free. So the type of clothing you wear can really make a difference to your anxiety levels. I personally feel like. Think about what you are wearing, what you are doing in order to make the experience a bit better for yourselves. Number 5, park closing. I suggest you do at least one Magic Kingdom park closing on your holiday because, you know, you want to see Happily Ever After, Once Upon a Time. It's an incredible fireworks show. It is amazing. Obviously, if you've got kids, it can be a bit more difficult. But the crowds, the noise, the pressures of like doing a long day, whether it's a sun up, sundown, Disney day, can put people off. Don't do a full day. Go in the afternoon, spend time in the resort or go to Disney Springs. Go in the afternoon when the sun's gone down about 6 o'clock or it's sort of setting and it's not as hot. Do a couple of rides, maybe have something to eat, and then get ready for the fireworks. Now you may be thinking, Gary, but how do you cope with all the people that are in Magic Kingdom and are like rushing out the doors? Hold back. You don't need to rush out the door the second the show finishes. Yes, it means that you'll be getting on the coach in the first lot, but whether you're in the first lot, the second lot, the third lot on the coaches, what's best for you? Would you rather just be back in the room than bolt out the door with the rest of them? If you would like to avoid the crowds, there are a couple of options. You can hold back and wait for the park to empty out and make it easier because Disney run the coaches back to the resorts until the last people are left. So don't worry about that. They're not going to leave you in the park. From Magic Kingdom, you can walk to the Contemporary, which is next door, and you can get an Uber to your resort, to the front of your resort. The other option is a minivan, which some of you may be going, oh my God, they're so expensive. They're not actually as expensive, it turns out, because there isn't the flat $30 fee anymore. It's worked out on the miles and the time and everything. So it's kind of Uber-esque. And you book the minivans through the Lyft app. So like Uber, Lyft is another service. And they have a drop-down for the minivans. The minivans are serviced or driven by cast members, and they've got all the chat when it comes to Disney World and the results. We went on, I think we did 3 or 4, which sounds horrendous, but split between the two of us, me and my friend Adam, and just the pressure it took off of me, on the body and the mind, like coming out of Magic Kingdom and just stepping into a minivan straight to our resort room, because they didn't just take us to the front, they can drive round. And it was like teleportation. It really was. And, you know, we were there, boom, boom, in bed, ready to charge up for the next day. So it can be expensive, obviously, if you have like a family and like a large group, because that would be a couple of minivans, or like, it's just, I think if you go in with the mentality like a lot of people do when they're on holiday, oh, but we're on holiday, let's just enjoy it, like we did, then you're not begrudging it. And we found it to be a really lovely experience. In fact, when it was a bit chilly out one night, the chairs were heated, which, you know, was amazing. And they had ports for like charging phones and things like that. And they have the music from the parks like is programmed into the van. So it is a wonderful experience. Yes, it can be expensive depending on where you're going, but when you're just jetting from Magic Kingdom and you're avoiding like 3 or 4 coaches full of people and you're doing it for anxiety or panic's sake like we were, it's worth it. So bear that in mind, that you can get Ubers from resorts to parks, but they don't take you up to the doors. The minivans do take you to the door of like Magic Kingdom and stuff. So it's an option. The other option is to just hold back and wait for everyone to go. It depends like how tired you are and how much you want to get back to your room. It's up to you. Number 6, the disabled access pass. I get asked about this a lot, and for me, it can make a huge difference to how I cope with a busy day in Disney. Here is my attempt at trying to explain it to you. from what I remember and what I know and what I've experienced. When you arrive in Disney World, go to guest services at one of the parks. On your first day, go to whatever park you're at and go to guest services. Tell them that you're inquiring about the disabled access pass. This is the person who needs it, saying to the cast member. They will ask you what your needs are and how they can help. You say to them, I have a physical difficulty, I have a cognitive difficulty, like whether it's with anxiety or panic, depression, or whatever it is that you find difficult. Tell them, and then they will accordingly try to help you. Now, it's not a given. They're not just going to give it over to everyone, but they are happy to help and to talk to you and to see how it goes. People often ask me, do you need proof? No, you don't. I think it could be against the law, or there's some sort of issue with that, because Universal have a similar thing and they don't need medical evidence. But when I've been to Disneyland Paris, they do need medical evidence. So I need to take stuff from my doctor for my anxiety, panic, depression and everything. Once you have been granted it, they will take a picture of you and they will put that onto your magic band, and then they will ask you how many people in your party, which is the people in your family or the people you're with, and they will put them on the magic band. So nobody can use it other than you and your family, and your family need you to be there. So when you go to a ride and say it says 60 minutes, go to the cast member that's usually got a clipboard or an iPad now, and you say, could I have a return time, please? And then they say to you a time. They scan your magic band and they give you a time, and then you go back to the ride at that time, and then you go through the fast pass line and you go on it. So you don't effectively have to line up, but you still wait the time. You just don't wait the time in line, if that makes sense. So you don't wait in line for the 60 minutes in the standby, like the queue that everyone goes through, but you are waiting and killing time between that. So it just means you can walk around and look in the shops or have a sit down for a bit and have a rest. When you get back to the ride, you scan your magic band first, and then the other people with you scan it afterwards. That is because they need you to approve what's going on, and then everybody else follows. And that's it. That's the disabled access pass. It does work for some shows as well. Sometimes you can get a disabled access pass priority seating for the Lion King show, Festival of the Lion King. There are other opportunities to use it. I think, I don't know if you can use it for Rivers of Light anymore, but they just direct you to the fast pass bit where people sit and you just sit there. It just means that you're not having to be around all the people in the lines as much. So if you do suffer from anxiety or panic, as I do, it just means there's that little bit of pressure taken off. So the disabled access pass is incredible. You need to talk to the cast members really, but they are there to help. They are very, very well versed and trained in how to deal with things. So yeah, that's the disabled access pass. Number 7 seems like a bit of a weird one, but I'm just going to say it. Check in with yourself. Do you need a sit down? Do you need a drink of water? See the tension in my body. I'm trying not to be anxious just talking about it. It's very easy for me to get so caught up in the magic of Disney and, you know, the schedule that we've done, and to just rush around and do everything, and that's what we often do, and it's so easy to fall into that trap. And Adam will often say to me, as we're walking around the parks, are you okay? And I'll more often than not, I'll say, yeah, I'm fine. And then we just have a little sit down and I'll be like, oh, girl, I needed that. And he's like, mother needs a perch. And sometimes I do need a perch because the legs be going, girl, no more. But just check in with yourself. It all comes back to that. What do you need? What are your needs? We all know what we want. We're in Disney. We want the merch. We want the characters. We want the shows. But what do you need right now? And they can be two very different things. That, I don't know if any of you are watching the vlog series right now of the holiday with Adam. It's on his YouTube channel. I will link that below. But there's a day in Animal Kingdom where we just decide at 4 o'clock, like we've been up since the dawn of time, and you know, it's time to call it a day. And we asked to go to one of our restaurant booking at Tiffin's for an early dinner. And thankfully they let us. They had some space and we just did it. And then we went back to the resort. And that's what you need to do. Some days you just need to go, this is it, girls. Like, we ain't out here trying to kill ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Number 8, food. This feels incredibly patronising and just ridiculous for me to say this, but please remember to eat. It's so easy to get that sort of anxious, tensious, that's not a word, Gary, feeling just because you're hungry or you're thirsty. So make sure your body is fueled, because you're going to need it for all the walking and the adrenaline bursts. And it's easy to just get those adrenaline bursts and just fuel off of them. Many times Adam and I have found ourselves at like 2 o'clock and gone, oh, we haven't actually eaten anything. And it's so easy to do. Loads of people do it. Maybe not people with kids, because the kids are almost like a little Geiger counter for it. It's like when they're hungry, we eat. But try to be kind to yourself when it comes to the food situation. It can be really off-putting, especially when you go into a quick service and there's just tons of people. To combat that, the best thing you can do is go on the My Disney Experience app and order your food in the quick service and then go and collect it. I think a lot of these tips revolve around as well the person you're going with on holiday. Adam is a very kind, patient person, and he will get up and go and collect the food without even saying, oh, can you go up or anything? Or, well, like, sometimes I will go up, but more often than not, he goes up because he knows it's just too much for me with all the people and the stress of carrying it and the fear of dropping it. And I can't be trusted, to be fair. I can't be trusted. Like, if I'm carrying it, I think there's even a point in the vlog series where I say, you sure about this? Or something, because I'm carrying the food. I'm making myself sound totally inept, but I mean, if the coat fits, the shoes fit. What's the saying? I don't know. Make it so that it's a shared experience and that you're sharing out the roles. It all goes back to that sort of kindness within the crew sort of thing. Aside from quick services, get your dining reservations and give yourself enough time to get there so you're not worrying about it. Number 9, take some time out. There are plenty of places to sit down in Disney World, including all the shows in Disney's Hollywood studios, like the Beauty and the Beast show, the Little Mermaid show, the Indiana Jones show, the Epcot World Showcase. There's loads of indoor things within the different countries. There's things like easy rides, like in Magic Kingdom. You've got like the Little Mermaid, where you just sit down and chill out and enjoy the aircon. Carousel of Progress, which is like 20 odd minutes long or something. You just sit on it and just sit in there in the auditorium. Mickey's PhilharMagic. So all these rides allow you to get out of the heat into the aircon and just chill out. And that, my friends, when it's hot and when you're stressed and when you've had a long day, is a blessing. Number 10, in case of emergency, ask for help. The cast members are there to help you and make your holiday magical. There are first aid places in each park. The resorts have got people on hand that know exactly what to do if someone has a panic attack or something goes wrong, or like, you know, there's people on hand. So try not to panic and think, we're on holiday, this is a disaster, because the people at Disney are more than happy and more than able to cope with pretty much anything you throw at them, because that's what they do. They make magic happen, and they're trying to make your holiday special. And that's my 10 tips for surviving Disney World if you suffer from anxiety or some sort of cognitive disorder. You may find that whether you suffer from these disorders or not, these tips will help you, and that's great. If you do have anything else that you would like to leave in the comments, or some tips that you've come up with or specific to each park, then put them in the comments below. Hopefully people will find this video and they'll read the comments and they'll be able to plan their holiday, or not plan the holiday, depending on how you look at it. Top tip number 1. And hopefully we can help each other to navigate the parks and make it a magical, like, wonderful experience for everyone, regardless of where they're at. I will leave you with this thought. Overall, if you are feeling anxious in the parks, ask yourself why. What is it about this attraction or this experience or this line or being in this shop that makes me anxious? And say to yourself, what can I do about it right now? If it's just a case of removing yourself from the situation, or walking out of the line, do it. No ride is worth a panic attack. No experience is worth having a meltdown and ruining your holiday and then feeling guilty towards the rest of the people in your party. They'll understand. They know you. They know your limitations. They know what you can do. And again, it's being kind to yourself, surrounding yourself with kindness, having a kind crew, like a little mini Adam in your posse. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. If you're on your way to Disney World, have an incredible time. Don't forget to leave in the comments any tips you might have yourselves. And I will see you soon. Take care. Mwah.